In early Jewish interpretation, rabbinic understanding, there are four levels of understanding and interpreting the text. One is Peshat, the other is Remetz, the third is Darash, the last is Sod. Peshat, Peshat, means that which is literal. It's the normative literal understanding of a text. And I remember when I was in seminary, we were told always interpret the text literally, interpret it literally. However, that is not always what happened in the New Testament. The Jewish apostles and writers of the New Testament utilized what we call a paradise, Peshat, Remes, Darash, and Sod. Let me just give some examples in my understanding. First of all, Peshat is the literal. We find that in the normative interpretation of the Hebrew Bible or of the Old Testament. And I think we see that in a number of places in the New Testament, the literal understanding of the text. Then you also have Remetz, which is the hint, where we read, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And when you look at that text in the New Testament, it's implying that God has always been the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it's being used with a hint of something deeper than just what is spoken up front in the text. It's looking at the eternality of the Lord. I've always been, and I am still the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then we have Darash. Darash is the commentary. Like a number of texts are taken, and there's commentary on those texts. For example, you don't have to go to heaven to bring Christ down, he's already come. You don't have to go into the underworld to bring Christ up, he's already resurrected.
It's ready, honey.
Everything is basically, everything basically is, can I say, being applied uh, in a way that helps us to understand what would be darash. That is, if you look at the way the text is used in the Hebrew Bible, you don't have to go to heaven to bring the Torah here. I've just given it to you, is what Moses is saying in Deuteronomy. You don't have to cross the sea to get it. It's right here. I've just rehearsed it. Whereas Paul applies it in this way, you don't have to go to heaven to bring Christ down. In a commentary, he's already come in the incarnation. You don't have to go into the underworld to bring him up. He's already resurrected. So, in other words, I'm seeing in a lot of places in the New Testament, like especially Romans chapter 9 through 11, Galatians 2, and a lot in the book of Hebrews, we have commentary, we have darash. The final level is sod, the mystical. In other words, the text is looking at something deeper than just the peshat or the literal. An example of that to me is where in the book of Ephesians, I'm speaking of a great mystery concerning Christ and the church, a great sod in talking about marriage. So it's a deeper level than just husband and wife in marriage. It's talking about Christ and the church. So it looks to me like the New Testament employed these four levels when the New Testament Jewish writers wrote, they were coming at it from the standpoint of Peshat, of Remetz, a hint, of Darash, and Sod. And when you put all that together, you end up with a garden, paradise, which is a word that meant garden. And so the Bible has a beautiful garden of many different roses and flowers, and that interpretive methodology was not only used in rabbinic writings, but was used by the New Testament writers as well.